hey, subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you're going to love it. So, raise your hand if you're pretty much done with Little Miss Megyn Kelly. Oh, all you too, huh? Well, yesterday, Megyn Kelly said some categorically daft shit. She didn't say these things in a private production meeting with staff, the details of which were leaked to the public. She didn't say them over dinner close enough for a nearby diner to hear. No, she said it loud and proud on live national television for the world to see and hear. In a conversation about Halloween costumes, Megyn seemed beside herself with all the walking on eggshells people have to do these days related to racist garbage that they do. Specifically, white people wearing blackface.
But what is racist? Because truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface for Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween.
First of all, Megyn, whiteface isn't really a thing. There isn't a multi-century practice of donning white makeup in order to ridicule, demean, and oppress people. You see, Princess White Privilege, the rub lies in the power dynamic, in the overwhelming historical power imbalance between whites in power and black people in this country. But you for sure already knew this, right? You're only acting obtuse as a cover, right?
Whiteface for Halloween. Like, back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as like a character.
Wait. When you were a kid, what the hell does it matter what kind of shitty things people were doing in the 1970s and 80s? Let me tell you what I hear when I hear white people like myself use that phrase related to how black folks should simmer down a bit because when I was a kid. It rings in my ear as when I was a kid, no one had a problem with this or that because black people knew their place and knew to keep their mouths shut about things that were deeply offensive and racist and degrading to them. But that couldn't have been what you meant on your live national television show, right?
Just come on, we're already in the deep end. Literally, I can't keep up with the number of people that we're offending just by being like normal people these days.
Did you catch that last line, everybody? Quote, I can't keep up with the number of people we are offending just by being like normal people these days, unquote. In that statement, Megyn Kelly broadcast that this is what normal people do. And if you're offended in some way by it, you're the problem. You're the one who isn't normal. You're the buzzkill who wants to snuff out all the blackface good times she'd be having if it wasn't for all the anti-racist PC police. Apparently, Megyn Kelly was too busy in 2014 proclaiming also on national television the whiteness of Santa and Jesus. Too busy to read Janae Desmond-Harris's piece for Vox, in which she adroitly explained why blackface is offensive. Desmond-Harris wrote, quote, its American origins can be traced to minstrel shows. In the mid to late 19th century, white actors would routinely use black grease paint on their faces when depicting plantation slaves and free blacks on stage. To be clear, these weren't flattering representations at all. Taking place against the backdrop of a society that systematically mistreated and dehumanized black people, they were mocking portrayals that reinforced the idea that African Americans were inferior in every way, unquote. In fact, blackface continued on in the more modern of times, when film was around, so luckily we now have a record upon which to reflect, regret, and hopefully learn from our hateful, racist past. Take a look at a few scenes from these shameful times. And not coincidentally, these are the days which Donald Trump and millions of members of his white Republican Party pine for. The time when America, according to them, was great.
What's the matter with you boys shooting up that man's hen house?
I'll shoot any chicken trying to follow me home.
Well, why don't you get a job and go to work?
You almost had me a job this morning.
Where?
I went down to the post office and asked that man, could he let me have one of them jobs as a letter toter?
Well, tell me, how would you like to go to work for me?
Yeah, ma'am, how much you gonna pay me, I hope?
Well, let's see now. I'll pay you all your worth.
No, ma'am, I gotta have some money.
You know,
Drink some mud water, my stomach think I'm taking and washing. I'm hungry.
Didn't I tell you I'd stick with you through thick and thin?
Yeah, and the longer you stick, the thinner I get. I'll be so thin after a while, it'll take 9 pussycats to catch a rat in the bosom of my britches. I'm hungry.
Disgusting and shameful. That was yet another deep and damaging wound from which our nation must heal. And part of that healing is not going back there, not going back to blackface, Megyn. Well, after the swift public and I'm sure private backlash, Megyn Kelly emailed an apology to her staff and employees of NBC saying in part, quote, "I realize now that such behavior is indeed wrong, and I am sorry. The history of blackface in our culture is abhorrent. The wounds too deep. I've never been a PC kind of person, but I understand that we do need to be more sensitive in this day and age," unquote. So apparently, according to Megyn Kelly, until yesterday, October 22nd, 2018, she truly thought blackface was A-OK and had somehow made it through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and law school, having never picked up a history book to know that it was abhorrent, as she wrote. Also, I've never been a PC kind of person. Listen, I have long had a problem with the shitbirds who use the term PC or politically correct as a pejorative. PC doesn't mean overly sensitive weaklings. It's a reference to someone who thinks about the feelings and well-being of others, who has enough forethought and empathy to handle the humanity of others with kindness. But, that's just me. You gotta do you, Megyn.